Hello and welcome to a new semester and a new edition of Table for Three. I'm your host, Doug Mason. Today I am joined with two BSU students who happen to be my friends, Lily Ward, Trinity Lombardi. We're going to be talking about bullying. So, how are you guys today?
Pretty good.
Doing great.
Doing well?
Yeah.
Doing well? So, I'm really excited to talk about this because it's a really, really important topic. And I'm really glad that you guys could be here to talk about it. So, first off, have any of you or either of you ever been affected by bullying in your life or anyone close to you?
Yeah, I feel like everyone in some sort of way is affected by bullying at some point in their life, especially in the teenage years. For me personally, probably middle school years were a little bit tough because girls can be feisty.
Yeah, they can. Yeah,
but nothing too major, but I do know some people that have gone through it, and it is a really tough situation.
Yeah, it is tough, and it's different
Yeah.
for each girl, which is,
Totally.
and each man as well, or each boy. It's really upsetting because it's one of those things you can't really control.
Yeah.
You know, even if you're in a friend group and something's going on, you know, you try your best, but it's just one of those things.
Every case is so different.
It's so true. What about you, Trinity?
I have seen friends go through it. I saw my sister go through it in high school. It was really tough for her. It's just a hard time, and it's hard to watch, like, be on the outside of it also. But growing up, especially as like a girl, girls can be mean. Girls, like, it's just hard.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, definitely. Since you were talking about your sister, when you were seeing a little bit of that happening, is there anything, like, if you can go back and maybe be involved a little bit more, or like talk to the bully? Anything you would?
I mean, I
do
was
different?
young when she was in high school, so I probably couldn't have done anything, but I know that she could have handled it better, I guess, and talked through it with someone else, and like, instead of she held it in a lot, like what she was feeling and stuff, and it was just hard. Yeah. Understandable,
yeah. And the strangest thing is that a lot of people here at Boise State, this bullying trend, it continues. You know, a lot of people think it's just in high school. It's one of those things where it's cliquey, but you know, a lot of people don't know it just continues. It goes right into college. You know, there's cliques and sororities and Greek systems in which people are still bullying others, you know. Do you guys think that there's anything we could do at Boise State, like maybe like a campaign or a website that would be helpful for students that are still affected by bullying?
I think there's always something that we could do to try to make the situation better. I believe that it is always going to be a problem. It's just one of those controversies, but maybe like how we have, I know Idaho and like different towns has like a suicide hotline. We could have like a bullying hotline, or, you know, just more people to talk to and make more of a comfortable environment so that people feel okay to talk about it.
Totally true.
And because sometimes it's tough to find the words to, you know, say something.
Yeah,
So to have a more comfortable environment, I think would maybe make things much better.
Right. What I was thinking earlier actually is that maybe each department at the school had a certain counselor maybe that was trained to deal with bullying. I don't know if either of you know, but we have a CARE program here at Boise State where it's similar to the hotline that you were mentioning, Lily, and it's one of those things where I'm glad that we have it, but I don't know that a lot of people know about it. I mean, did either of you know about CARE?
I didn't know about it, no.
Right, and see, you're in a sorority, aren't you, Trinity? Right, see, one of those things, maybe next meeting you could bring it up if any of the girls are affected. And
Oh, definitely,
there's
yeah.
like a hotline that they could, you know, reach out to.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be important.
Yeah, that program is really cool. But I found out about it just a few weeks ago. I maybe in a psychology class, I'm not sure when, but it is such a cool thing.
Yeah.
How it could be all anonymous, you know, and no one can ever really know, you know, because people point fingers. And,
Totally true.
Oh, you ratted me out, you know, so that's kind of like a cool anonymous thing to do to help someone else out.
It's so true, because that is the biggest step in terms of getting through the bullying situation, is confronting it and kind of talking to someone about it and having them, you know, relay, you know, it's going to be fine and all that jazz. But okay, so another question is media. Such a relevant aspect in all of our lives these days. We always have our phone or tablet, and as interesting as it may sound, I feel like it's leading to more bullying. What do you guys think that we could do in terms of maybe stopping a little bit more media use, maybe keeping it less media? Do you think that media has an influence on bullying these days?
Yeah,
It does?
100%.
It definitely does, because it doesn't give a face to, like, you can say anything and it won't be pinned on you.
Right.
Which it's just not the most ideal situation, because
Totally
like
true.
it hurts a lot of people, even if you don't realize it. Yeah.
What was the show? I'm pretty sure it came out on Netflix this last year. but remember it was the show about the girl that was being bullied, was it 13
Reasons Why.
something like that?
Yeah, Reasons
was it
Why.
like, and that, I mean, I never really got to see it, but I think a friend of mine watched it or something, and they were trying to tell me how important it was in society these days and why it was such a great movement that they even had that on the show. Did either of you watch that show?
Yeah, I
I
watched
did.
the whole thing, but there's also a movie called Cyberbully that is like,
right.
and it came out like a few years ago, and it's like, it's really sad, and it gives a whole new light to like media bullying and all online. Just
I feel like
you
those
never
kind
know.
of TV shows and movies, some people get really like torn up about it. Like we should not be showing our children this kind of harsh, intense, media, but it's like a harsh reality, and I think that everyone needs to be more open and respectful to like learning more about it, to talk about it, communicate about it, because in a way, like topics like suicide and those cyberbullying, like they're all equally awful things.
Yeah,
you know,
important to talk about.
Yeah.
Because if you don't talk about it, nothing's ever going to get done.
Yeah.
and if we're not raised on the idea that it's okay to talk about it, then we're never going to talk about it.
That's so true. Since you brought that up, growing up, I know for my own self, I didn't really have access to my phone or any of that till I was like 15. Granted, now it's a completely different environment. Kids have their phones. I walk through the stores and kids are freaking out and the mom just hands them the phone and the kid's just like, oh great, like scrolling and playing games. And it really makes me think how scary that's going to be when that person's like 13, or maybe in a time of his or her life when bullying is going to be extremely real. And in that moment, and cyberbullying is just getting so much more big. I feel like it's just getting a bigger and bigger issue. Do you think that parents should have somewhat of a limit in terms of the media use that their child uses in terms of bullying?
Yeah, definitely, because I mean, people can get hurt. It's
Yeah.
you just never know what you're gonna say to offend someone or like just hurt them in general.
And like you said, it's behind a screen. So it's not like, you and I are having a discussion and I
Yeah.
say it to your face,
Right.
which of course I'm not the bully. I want to make that clear, but it's interesting because throughout, how kids are raised and even adults, there's YouTube battles, like even in the comment section,
Yeah.
someone will say something and
definitely.
they're like, I'm going to reply back.
Yeah.
And it's just silly when you think about it because, those comments hurt, So I feel like in my own world, internet use should be diminished in terms of kids growing up.
Yeah. I feel like when you are raising a kid or any of that sort of family situation, you need to allow your kid to like find out who they are as a person first before they find out who they are as a person on social media.
Exactly.
Because they're two entire different people.
That's so true. That is
They're
very
two
true.
different worlds.
So, speaking in light of the CARE program, I really wish that we could have a little bit more of a broad understanding of how important bullying is in a college campus. You guys ever walk through the quad and ever have the solicitors come up and talk to you? And they're always handing out flyers.
Yeah.
Have you ever had someone come up and talk to you about bullying?
I can't say that I have.
Yeah. I don't think so.
I just was thinking the other day, I was walking through the quad and I don't know, I thought to myself, that would be kind of a cool program. Maybe like the people that are in charge of CARE, they came out and they were standing around like, hey, this might be awkward to talk about in front of all these people, but if you're ever bullied or anyone that is in a serious situation, come talk to us. Here's a flyer. Do you think that would be helpful?
I think that would be really helpful because some kids just like, even if they are getting bullied and they don't realize it, like if they see a flyer and they read it a little bit, maybe they'll like look into it more and realize what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that now that we're all at college level education and we're all older and maybe a little bit more mature, that talking about it can be easier. So if someone random were to come up with a flyer that says, hey, I'm here, like there's a group, there's a program that you can talk to, maybe now, like as we're growing older into adults and mature, we could be okay with doing that at this point in our life, maybe
Totally.
versus being 12 years old and being like, I can't talk about
People
this.
are going to judge me.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it. This
Yeah.
person's not going to understand what I feel.
We could
know,
make it
and-
way more comfortable right now at this point.
Yeah, definitely. Makes a lot of sense. I was thinking also, we have a huge Greek, well, we don't have a huge Greek system here at Boise State, but we do have a Greek system. And that's another thing I was thinking about. There should be a bullying there should be a discussion about bullying in the Greek system. I mean, we all know the discussion of hazing, you know, through sororities and frats. Since you are in a sorority, what sorority are you in, Trinity?
Zeta Tau Alpha.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Shout
new
out
to
all the Zetas out
it's
there
new to
watching.
campus. So
It's new to campus.
yeah.
Okay. So is there? I don't know if there is a program along in your sorority talking about bullying. Is there?
No, it's more about the whole hazing thing. Like, it's basically just be nice to each other. Like, don't haze anyone. Don't make someone do something that they don't want to do. And that's basically it. It doesn't like specifically go into bullying, but it touches on all the aspects that you would think.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. I wanna ask you a little bit more about this because I know that there's a lot of people at Boise State that know about the Greek systems. What are you? You're not a founding sister, or what is? You are a founding sister.
Yeah.
Okay, is that what they call it, by the way? I don't know if that's what they call it or not.
Yeah, I think, founding sister.
That's what they call it. Okay. Well, I feel like that would be important, maybe to talk about bullying, since you are, one of the founders.
Yeah.
of Zeta.
I mean,
That'd be cool.
Technically, all of us are here at Boise State because it's all mostly like an East Coast thing.
Oh, it is. Zeta is East Coast based. Okay.
Yeah, so they're just starting to move out to new colleges, but yeah, it definitely should be addressed, and yeah.
It should be addressed.
Yeah.
Really? Do you have anything to add on that?
No, I totally agree. Especially with Greek life. Maybe I think that maybe a lot of the bullying type stuff might come from that. It's kind of a giant clique.
It is. Yeah.
Is what you could call it.
There's cliques. Yeah.
You know,
there's cliques in
cliquey.
college for sure.
So
Yeah.
maybe we could find some founders to get that going.
Medium ground. Yes, Trinity.
Yeah.
After the show, she's going to go out. She's going to parade the streets talking about
that's
bullying
it.
Yep.
and sororities. So since we were talking about hazing, any bully stories that I've heard so far through friends of mine that are in the Greek system, they talk about hazing and how it's kind of similar in a sense. It's a little similar to bullying. What do you think about that? Do you think that they're similar, or is there a certain line that should be drawn?
Yeah, it's definitely similar, and there is a line between being mean and just like hazing, like because hazing I don't think is meant to be like harmful that much,
Right,
you know.
yeah, totally.
But there are definitely rules against it. I know that they get broken in like specifically like fraternities, but
We don't want to call anyone out.
I know, but like
We're basically on that line.
sororities, sororities don't do a lot of hazing because there's more morality, I guess. Like they're more at stake.
Sure.
Yeah.
What do you? But could you like unpack that a little bit? Like, what do you mean more at stake?
I guess they just want to keep up an image of being like nice, like sorority, no hazing.
Like join our sorority.
Yeah, join our sorority.
We won't hurt
we're
you.
nice. Yeah,
Kind of thing.
yeah, basically.
Okay, that is cool. All right, that is pretty interesting. But once again, I have to go back to it. Like, so President Custra, he's made a lot of speeches, and I think that he's touched on bullying a little bit. But in my own college experience, I feel like it'd be important that he maybe talked about it a little bit more. What do you guys think? Like, do you think that there could be maybe a speech that he could give regarding how bullying affects kids at school, no matter the age?
I think bullying is going to happen no matter what age you are. Like, no matter how many speeches you give or who you talk to, I think it's always going to happen. But he could definitely do like the programs with the counselors and all that. It could definitely help in that case.
What do you think, Lil?
I think he could probably allow some of us to become a little bit more aware about it.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people think that this bullying just fades away once you're out of grade school, which it doesn't. We just learn how to deal with it in a different way, and it comes in a different way. So maybe if there was some more awareness about it on campus and at this school, it could make people change their actions or think about it just a little bit more, and that might help.
That is so true. What about like a social media outlet? Like, how certain departments have like a social media account? Like the University of Boise State, of course, but we have certain programs. Like the communications department has a certain social media outlet. Do you think that'd be cool if there was almost like a bullying outlet that someone could just for easy access? Like, I know we have the CARE program, of course, but when it comes down to easy access, like let's just say I was bullied, right? And I have my phone in my pocket, and I'm upset, and I have just an easy access to send a message. Hey, this is happening. I don't know who to talk to about it, and that person responds. Do you think that would be an easier way to get to the people to help?
Yeah.
Do you think it would?
Yeah, because a lot of times when people get bullied, they don't want to rat out the person that's bullying them because they're scared, you know? And I think it'd be easier to have the outlet to talk about it and get advice about it, and without bringing names into it.
Right, like anonymous, is that what you're referring to, Trey?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it would be a little difficult through social media to remain anonymous.
Yeah.
Because you know, it's your account and it's their account, so it's really more of the faint of heart that would just have to respond right away, like, hey, this is bothering me. I need someone to talk to about it. Is there any way you could help me?
I'm talking like anonymous as in the person who's doing the
counseling?
like the bullying.
Oh.
Because a lot of the people who are being bullied don't want to set them off, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
They don't want to say, hey, you know, Johnny is bullying me because now Johnny's not going to like this person. Right. That's totally understandable. I know that there's certain websites, stopbullying.gov, and that's worldwide, or not worldwide, that's countrywide. And there's a lot of big cases that go into that, and people have an outlet. But I think that it'd be cool if we had, I know we have CARE, and I know we're circling this topic of, you know, how do we get the message out? But maybe a website that we all could go to. I'm just kind of formulating ideas in my head. You know what I'm saying? Like,
This is what we need to do.
Yeah.
excuse me, but the social media is just one, and then a website would be great. Do you think that we should have that maybe on our My Boise State or Blackboard or anything like that?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
I think that'd be a great idea.
My Boise State? Because we're on it so often.
Yeah.
You see the tab.
And we're on social media so often, so why not just put it everywhere we're at?
Right.
Can't avoid it now.
You can't avoid it. Yeah, totally true. So, before we wrap up, I actually have a question about, I know that we talked a little bit about personal history, but while you have been at school, now we won't dish anyone in the sorority system, however, while you two have been at school and living in the dorms, have you ever seen firsthand, like a little bit of bullying, like maybe something that's really close to you that you would like to touch on?
I don't feel like anything too intense.
Yeah.
But just something that just reminds you, like, wow, this is similar to maybe high school or a little bit of middle school, you know, and it keeps carrying on.
Yeah.
You can see high school, like, in any time you move through life. Like, I feel like there's always some piece of high school in there that's just so dumb that you can't get rid of it. Yeah.
No, so it's totally true.
And also it's inevitably.
That's it, inevitably.
I think that was
That's
it.
it. That was it.
It's hard to live with, for us, we have 6 other roommates, so there's 8 of us total. It's hard to live, 8 girls, all squeezed in a box.
I understand, and especially the first time you like meet them all.
Yeah,
right?
never met them before.
That was me as well. Move into a dorm, don't know anyone. But yeah, that is interesting.
So no matter what, it's going to be hard. And now we only have a couple months left, and of course there's going to be some cat fights and butting heads. I don't know if it's bullying, but I haven't experienced anything too crazy here. But I'm also not too sensitive of a person, so I could probably deal with it.
Lily's got a thick skin.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
She's dealing with it.
Yeah, but
Understandable.
some things are tough, but you just have to keep going, you know?
I think that's a great note to end on, actually. The quote from Lily Ward, got to keep on trudging on. Well, that looks like that's all the time we have. Thanks for being on the show today, guys. Really means a lot. Not only are you guys my friends, but it's an important topic. I'm glad that we got to discuss it a little bit more.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely.
But anyway, thanks for watching this edition of Table for Three. I'm your host, Doug Mason. Tune in next time. Thanks for watching.